Welcome to Fatherhood Unity Month. Today, our guest is Ken Blanks Harrell, Vice President of Good Fathers Only and owner of Bullish Picks. We're talking investment today, brought to you by Campaign for Black Male Achievement, Good Fathers Only, and Daddy Talk. My name is Calvin Mann, President and founder of Good Fathers Only and Encourage Me I'm Young. And this is Ken Blanks Harrell, my guy. Welcome.
What's going on?
Oh, you got it, man.
Always a pleasure to be in the company, presence of greatness out here on the. I know you stay on the front lines, helping us to all keep fatherhood relevant and on the forefront of what's going on. So I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity that you provided me to be able to help you and participate in the movement, and lend whatever gifts I can and talents to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, so tonight we're talking about investments. That's what you want to get to, some financial literacy for fathers, right?
Yeah. Let's get them at the beginning. We got a few people, so you know what they should be doing. Start them at the beginning, and then we'll build on it even more next Wednesday when we come back with part 2.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, at the ground level, I want to kind of just level set with saying, it's clear that we are in a state of emergency.
Right.
It's a lot going on in this world right now.
Right.
A lot.
Right.
I'm saying a lot. We're in a state of emergency.
Right.
And one of the biggest issues that has been exposed during the state of emergency is that we don't have emergency funds, right?
Right.
We have business owners, whether it's big business, even big business doesn't have an emergency fund. People are looking for bailouts, right? That's because of the lack of financial fortitude, right? Some companies are going bankrupt right now on Wall Street. Some companies are going bankrupt right now on Main Street. There's some shops and boutiques that we used to go to that we're never going to be able to go to again. There's some restaurants that we used to go to that doors are never going to open again, right?
Right.
We're at a state of an emergency. So how do we curtail that? One of the ways you curtail that is by having an emergency fund. See, people save and budget for a lot of things. So we know that we have a savings capacity, right? We've saved for things like trips, right? We save for people save for vehicles. We want home. We save for the things we want, clothes, jewelry, right? You got to save up for that engagement ring. You know what I mean? You got to save up for that wedding ring. You got to save up for that furniture set, right? We got new furniture. We keep stuff. We get our wants. We satisfy our wants, but we don't focus on our needs. We need to have an emergency fund. We need to have savings. We need to have a disciplined, consistent strategy for putting money to the side so it can grow, so we can build, because the power is in the savings. I remember I was 11 years old, and I remember when my father took me to open my first bank account. When he took me to open my first bank account, it was a savings account. And I didn't get it. I wasn't really too excited, because coming up as a kid, in the 80s, I used to see my parents always writing checks, right? Like, I thought the power was in writing checks. They write a check, you got groceries. They write a check, the lights are on. They write a check, that's tuition school. You write a check, there's clothes. You write a check, there's a Nintendo or whatever it is. It's checks made things possible. You go out, you write checks, then you can bring stuff back to the house. So as a kid, I thought the power was in a checking account. So when I went to open my first bank account at 11, I was like turned off to the savings account. Like, you need a savings account. Like, well, I want to do what you and mom do. I want to write checks. They're like, no. That ain't where the action is at. That's not where it's at. It's in writing. I mean, it's in saving money. And so, that was 30 years ago. Now I'm 41, and I can clearly see that the power is not in the checking account. The power is in the savings account. I remember when I turned 40, I was shocked to know how many of my peers, didn't have, any money. Matter of fact, I think that the national statistic is over 55% of households in America have less than $1,000 put away for emergencies. Less than $1,000. So let's just think about that for a moment. That could be a hot water tank. You can have one rough month where it was a hot water tank went out, or you had maybe the car, you need to replace the radiator, or maybe with the tires, or, maybe you had to help somebody out with, somebody, a close one, you helped them out with their rent, stuff we do. Well, if you add up three good favors, though, three real clutch favors could add up to over $1,000. Easily $1,500, $2,000, depending on what it was, right? What if your cousin had to get bailed out? He in jail and it's $500 bail. Now I ain't saying you got the whole 500. You ain't got to bail him all the way out. It's your cousin. It ain't your blood brother. It ain't your child, right? You got to bail your child out. But the thing is, you budget. You got to have money for that. So part of my emergency fund is for other people's emergencies. That's how you look out and don't put yourself in a bind, because you already had a budget for that. I already had that earmarked. Because we know things can happen in life, but we don't save for rainy days. So when you hear about people living check to check, that means literally the hot water tank cannot go out or they're toast. No, there's no extra money for emergency babysitter money. I can't get a sitter tonight and come be there for this thing. There's no money for that. But if we had an emergency fund, then it would be money for that. And we've been hearing about it all our lives, called rainy day funds. It's raining right now in Detroit. It's a rainy day right now. It's raining this very moment. But if we don't have any money put to the side, it totally chokes out all of our options. If you don't have any money, you don't have any options. And so the power is in saving. The more money you save, the more financial power you have. We got it twisted because we were exposed to the more money we spend. So I could tell you growing up, I know plenty of people who own, I can't name how many pairs of Jordans. I'm 41 years old and I've never owned one pair of Jordans. Never. I can go buy a couple hundred pair of Jordans in cash today. It don't matter, but I've never owned one pair. So what's the real power position? You own 50 pair of Jordans, or I can go buy 500 pair of them tomorrow. So maybe not 500, without moving some money around, but you get what I'm saying. A whole lot of Jordans.
A whole lot of
Jordans.
Right.
A whole lot of them. But that only came from saving and then investing. Now, I know people want to get in the market, and we're going to talk about the stock market today. There's plenty of opportunities out there. We're going to touch on it. But I always got to kind of level set and bring us back to earth before we shoot out into space. And, people want a 200-300% return on the ROI and flip this and double and triple all that. Listen, save some money. We got to have a disciplined system that we commit to paying ourselves first so that we can achieve our goals and make it to our future, right? Pay ourselves first, because when we get paid, DTE get paid, rent get paid, right? Water bill get paid, we pay food, we buy, and then people got vices. So all our vices get paid before we pay ourselves. At what point do we pay ourselves? We look up and there's no money left. And we could have changed that whole program if we just paid ourselves first, took a 15-20% off the top and pay ourselves first, and then do what you do with the rest. What I do is I take 20% off the top. I don't see 20% of my money on purpose. I hide it from myself and make it so super difficult to touch it. When you look up, especially when you've been doing that for months or years, decades, and you look up, it's like, oh my goodness, you'll be surprised at what you will have, because we really could live on a lot less. But when we see the amount, we get tempted. So I try not to leave a lot of money in my checking account on purpose, because I don't want to get tempted. There's nothing sexy with saying, oh, I got $50,000 cash in my checking account. It's not doing nothing for you but losing money, or like to always use the phrase, you'll burn a hole in your pocket. Whether it's, I say 5,000, that might be your emergency fund. That's cool, but what are you doing with 70,000 sitting in the bank? You should be putting that money to work. Or if your emergency fund is $5,000 and you got 12 in the bank, to me, you could put 7,000 more to work. That's when you start figuring out, what can I invest? You start looking at what you can invest after you've saved, after you've achieved your emergency fund, and it's nothing like a hot water tank or a radiator that can knock you out the box. Then you can start talking about investing. Because if you don't have an emergency fund, what happens is you start dipping into your investments and they never grow, and you totally sabotage the whole growth opportunity. You know, you had some good companies, good stocks in your portfolio, ETF, mutual funds, whatever, and it was rolling. It could do this, could do that, but because you didn't have an emergency fund, now you're looking over here like, well, I do got that 7,000 over in Robinhood, or I do got that 3,000 over in Fidelity. No, don't touch that money. That ain't what that's for. That's for investing purposes. We got to create our game plan and stick to the script, and we don't have no discipline. Dads need to be more disciplined, and we're the leaders of the home. If we don't do it, our women aren't going to follow our leadership. They're not going to have good money habits. Our children are going to have good money habits, and it becomes a generational curse. That's what we're living in now. My parents weren't wealthy. They couldn't teach me how to be wealthy. They couldn't. My parents are in their 70s and got a mortgage, and I'm 40 and I own my house free and clear. So I learned something different that my parents didn't learn, but they still got a mortgage. And I own houses. I own multiple houses, free and clear, and they have a mortgage. And that doesn't make sense to me. But they didn't. But their parents weren't wealthy, and their parents weren't wealthy. So nobody passed nothing down. So in my family, it got to start with me. Somebody got to go learn the game, get the bag, and then teach the people how it really works. And the way it really works is we got to save money, y'all, and we got to focus on our needs versus our wants. And we got to be disciplined, and we got to say no. We got to be selfish and stingy with how we spend our money. We have to. We got to put our money to work for us. It's nothing sexy to have a big bag of receipts. You know, a closet full of expensive jeans and a bunch of used Jordans. Like, what is that? I know some fellas, we in our cars. That's our hobby car. But if you can't flip it like a classic car or a hot rod, what are you doing? We too old to be putting flat screens and rims on stuff. We grown. What are we doing with our bread? What are we doing? We need to save and invest and lead by example. All right. So what I like for people to do is find what's called the missing money. And we all got missing money. We all fall victim of poor habits. All I ask and challenge all of us to do as men is to look ourselves in the mirror as men and see, you know, man, where am I robbing my family's future at? Where am I really robbing something? Where's my missing money? For some of us, it's as simple as takeout food, right? We eat too much takeout food, too many styrofoam boxes in our refrigerator, right? Too many of us fathers still living the bachelor life when you look at our refrigerator and our cabinets. We need to buy fresh groceries. We need to get some cookbooks. We need to learn how to eat healthier. Health is wealth. Right? We paying people to give us problems, and we spending double, triple at it. You know, people using Grubhub spending $30 to get a $12 sandwich delivered. I'm just saying, that's hustling backwards. It don't make sense. You know, I'm happy that the quarantine has forced us to deal more with our needs than our wants and reduce us to our least common denominator. But think before this, we'd be at the casinos, wasting money, right? At the lottery. People got to do their straighten box, they 3-digit, 4-digit, right? We wasting money at the lottery. We wasting money. You know, some people is retail therapy. Some people is too much shopping or too much thumbing it up on Amazon. Some of our ladies be on that Fashion Nova, right? Some of us are wasting money on cable TV, spending $200 a month on Comcast. We should have just paid the $150 and got the Fire Stick. We all know the homie in the hood that got the Fire Stick hookup. But why don't you get it? Why are you still paying $3Gs a year to watch TV? Ain't even no sports on. What you paying all that for? It's plenty of missing money out here, right? Some of us got jewelry habits. Some of us, again, it's clothes, it's fashion, right? We got to have all these name brand expensive stuff. Keep up with the Joneses. I know for some of our sisters, they hair and they nails and accessories. Just into too much stuff that don't add up and mean nothing. We spending a bunch of money to look good for people that don't care about us. We wasting it. We wasting our family's future and our money. We're not doing nothing. So for the person who, and I teach, because I also teach our youth. So it's called Bullish Teens is our youth outreach program. And I go and I teach the high school students. And I actually do stuff like, show of hands, how many of y'all own a pair of Jordans? And they raise their hand. And I'm like, how many of y'all own more than one pair? Just keep your hand up. 2 pairs, 3 pairs. And you'd be surprised how many high school students in DPS own right now, and they're like more than 5 pairs of Jordans. It's $1,000 for 5 pairs of Jordans. Now, here's the crazy part about it. The year is 2020. And I asked them, who was around in 2005? Well, all their hands are up because there's 15. Well, the price of Nike stock was $10 in 2005. So instead of us buying our kids all them Jordans, we could have spent $1,000 and bought Nike stock in 05 and got 100 shares. Nike stock today is worth over $100 a share, not including dividends. So we would have that $1,000 investment would be worth over $10,000. So your kid could have had 10 pair of Jordans and $8,000 cash left over, not including dividends. That's just off of capital appreciation alone. So we buy the Jordans, the shoes, or do we invest in Nike stock? So what I'm trying to do is show us that there's alternative places for our money and wiser places. After you set up your emergency fund, yes, you can look into investing, right? Your money will do better for you owning Bank of America stock than it ever would be doing sitting in Bank of America. If you put $1,000 cash in your Bank of America checking account and let it sit for 10 years versus buy $1,000 worth of Bank of America stock and let that run for 10 years, and you look at the difference, your checking account is going to be worth 900 and something in 10 years, maybe 800 and something, depending on how inflation goes, right? But what will Bank of America stock be worth 10 years from now? Bank of America stock was $20 a share 2 weeks ago and was $30 a share 2 days ago, right? Where do you get a 50% swing in an asset? Only in the stock market. In 2 weeks, legally, yeah, the market. But Bank of America won't pay you 50% return. They'll pay us 0.25% a year for our money. And it's not that, I'm not trying to beat nobody up about it. It's the fact that if we know better, we'll do better. And I think that our people, all of our people, we're smart enough that we'll master any game that we learn. So I want to pause for a minute. I see we have some questions coming in the thing. Calvin, can you help me with that?
Yeah, let's see. So far, it's just some statements, no questions. Anybody got any questions? Raise your hand.
I saw the chat bubble.
Yeah. No. Nope, it's just some information.
All right, so we'll keep it moving. But please, you all are encouraged to ask questions. This is your time, your opportunity. And Calvin, also know we're on Facebook Live and want to encourage your viewers on Facebook Live to ask questions as well. Okay. But as we jump back into investments, we don't have to throw in the towel for 2020, y'all. It's some money opportunities out here. It's people making money. And you don't need $1 million to get in the market. If I think with investment as little as maybe even a couple $100, you can get in the game and start making some money. And it's working for some folks. Airline stocks are rebounding. Oil stocks have been rebounding. We know why, right? People have been picked up in the house, and now they want to go out and do things. Some of the hotel stocks are starting to heat back up. It's a lot of built-up anticipation on, the world reopening. I think that the world economy reopening has been more anticipation about that than maybe even the vaccine itself. You have the protests out here. That's causing a lot of market volatility. You have it being a presidential election year. That caused a lot of market volatility. So right now is a perfect storm to really consider getting into high-quality companies that are at a discounted price or that have been severely affected by the pandemic. And the reason I say high-quality companies is because there's a lot of penny stocks out there. And I ain't saying go out there and run and buy anything. Just because something's $1 don't mean go buy $1,000 worth and you think it's going to turn to $10 a share in 10 days or 10 weeks. It don't work like that. It can work like that, but that's not the real game or the game I teach. I try to teach us to identify companies that have a lot of intrinsic value, that are worth way more than everybody else sees. So like one of the instances where I mentioned airlines is 3 weeks ago, I noticed Spirit Airlines was like $8. I just thought it was too good to be true. I'm like, $8? So I took $1,600 and bought 200 shares. And Spirit Airlines was like $22 yesterday, $21. I mean, so I mean, it's people who've tripled up in less than 30 days, but it's not. That's those you know those are unusual results, but we live in an unusual market right now, so you can achieve unusual results. I told folks a month and a half ago, buy AMC theaters. I said there's no way that all the theaters are gonna go out of business. I just think that right now, because of the COVID, well, yeah, they're gonna report crazy numbers. So AMC was like $1. I told people buy it. It's only $1. You've done worse things with $1, but for the person that's put 1,000 in, they was able to turn $1,000 into $5,000 within 30 days. And I know as a father, you know, you could do a lot more for your children, you know, if you had more, we had more money. So this is the stock market is actually a vehicle that a lot of people have used to build wealth for a long time. The stock market as well as real estate. The difference is the stock market is super easy to get into. You can get in the stock market tomorrow with $50. You can't initiate a real estate transaction probably for less than $1,000. Well, you know, with an earnest money deposit, maybe $500, but you can't initiate a real estate transaction with $50 or $100. You can take $100 tomorrow and go buy 5 shares of Spirit. You can take $100 tomorrow and go buy 3 shares of Delta Airlines. You can take $100 tomorrow and go buy 5 shares of Bank of America. I'm, you know, using round numbers, but just saying that these companies and opportunities are out here. Companies you've heard of like Dow Chemical, Verizon, Visa, American Express, Microsoft, Boeing, Caterpillar, Intel. These are all on the Dow Jones Industrial Average.
We got a couple of questions for you, Ken.
Excellent.
Okay, so first one is how do you start in the stock market? That's one. And do you use stockpile versus Robinhood for beginners? And then what about e-gift stock cards? Do you suggest for families, friends, and kids in particular?
Now, with the e-stock cards, I'm not really that familiar with them, but I do know that you can do a custodial or joint account with anyone who is with your child, and y'all can like trade stocks together. You know, it's like a joint custodial account. And there's a lot of companies out here that the youth know a lot about. And so I would encourage you to talk to your child, your teenager, and see what they're into, because a ton of publicly traded companies that are directly targeted to the millennials and our young people, right? Especially like through food and entertainment. Companies like Disney, right? And Disney also owns 40% of Hulu. Disney owns ESPN, right? And they also got the Disney Plus thing that just came out. But then you have like EA Sports, Electronic Arts, right? EA Sports, they make Madden, right? Football, you got Sony owns the PlayStation, Microsoft owns Xbox, GameStop is publicly traded, Yum Brands owns KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut, right? Quick service restaurant brands owns Tim Hortons, Burger King, and Popeye's Chicken. It's a lot of companies out here. L Brands owns North Face and Lee and Wrangler. Oh no, that's VF. That's VF Corporation. VFC owns Lee, Wrangler, Timberland, North Face, and L Brands owns Victoria's Secret, Pink, Bath and Body Works. So I'm just saying, it's a lot of companies out here that are targeted to our young people, and we can talk to them and see who are they more bullish or bearish on. McDonald's is publicly traded. Wendy's is publicly traded. You know what I mean? So these are things that we can look into.
Would you suggest, right? So, like, I know you suggested Robinhood is a great way to start. You know, one question was who do you contact, an agent, or do you need an agent? Then another one came in where what would you do with 1,500 right now? You know, I know Robinhood is the suggestion you made to me, and I kind of ran with it. And the other process is, what kind of tools? Should you get a book? Should you, you know, learn that way? Are you practical? How do you really, where you would really start after you get the Robinhood app? Should you pick up a book? Or should you be looking at a book before the Robinhood stock?
Yeah, I mean, I love reading. I mean, I mean, all these books behind me are all stock market books or financial, you know, some form of financial literacy. So I mean, I'll share some stuff with y'all. Like, here's one, The Intelligent Investor. Benjamin Graham. This is one of the most I would call like the de facto standard of all of the stock market investing books. I like my man right here, Jim Cramer, Real Money. You might see him on CNBC, Mad Money. He always be doing the crazy gestures, talking about buy, 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 sell, 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 stuff like that. Got my girl here, Susie Orman. Susie Orman. She's pretty popular. She does a lot of good stuff for the personal finance stuff. She talks a lot about how to get your personal finance together, your savings and budgeting, the importance of your credit. We don't be talking about our credit, fellas. We need to have our credit scores tight. That's part of the game too. You know, stocks for the long run. Jeremy Siegel, stocks for the long run. So I like to teach long-term investing. When you ever hear that phrase, long money, long bread, long money? You got to go long in the stock market. That's how you get long money. It's the truth.
Yeah, you got to play with it.
It's the truth.
It's the truth.
You got to play with it. You got to do boring stuff like save money, invest money, have real estate, have a good credit. That stuff's important. I put my website in the chat as well, the phone number. The phone number is 313-744-3489. If any of the fathers, any of your viewers, Calvin, want to set up a free consultation with me, they can call that number and we'll honor a free 15-minute consultation with any of the fathers who are current members of Good Fathers Only, or any of your viewers just tuning in right now. They just could call the number or text the number 313-744-3489 and mention Good Fathers Only, and we'll look out for them. And then I put the website on there, bullishpicks.com. Bullishpicks.com. For those of you looking to get started, we do have a stock market one-on-one workshop this weekend, actually, at 11 a.m. online, Zoom. It's a Zoom workshop. So you can click the link right there on Bullish Picks or look on Eventbrite and go on RSVP for that workshop this Saturday.
That's perfect. That's perfect. We'll set it up. If so, one of the questions, a good company? Is Sophie or SOFI a good company?
I heard of them. I know that they're supposed to be they're in the run-ins with like Moderna and Johnson & Johnson and GlaxoSmithKline for the vaccine play. So I know that Sophie name comes up quite a bit when you look up for the vaccine. So I would consider it. I would consider it, but I would, do a thorough fundamental analysis on it. I like to look at things like, I like to relate the market capitalization of a company against how many employees it has, right? Because if the company is worth $50 billion on Wall Street, but they have 50 employees, to me, that's a red flag. I don't believe it, right? I don't believe that 50 people can run a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I just don't believe it, right? So I look for things like, what's the company just came out with the emission truck? I missed that one. It just dropped. Oh man.
Wasn't Tesla.
Nikola is like Tesla, but it's new. It's got an emissions-free truck, but it just came out, and the stock just IPO'd 2 days ago, and I think this ticker symbol is NKLA, and it's worth more than Ford Motor Company. So it's stuff like that. Like, how you gonna come out and be worth $50 billion? You worth more than Ford Motor Company, and Ford been around for over 100 years, and this company ain't been on the market for 100 days, 100 minutes, and they ain't sold one truck. So I don't believe it. So some stuff is I think will crash, right? Because it's overinflated pricing. So you got to know how to fundamentally analyze a good company, and that's why I like to start with places like the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And again, companies I've heard of before, right? Companies I've heard of before, and I can actually find information on. Do I trust companies like Walmart? Yeah. I don't think Walmart going out of business. Trust might be a odd phrase. Maybe I don't trust, but do I think they're going to be here? Do I think they have the financial fortitude to weather the recession that's ahead? Yes. I feel good about companies like Home Depot. I feel good about companies like Apple and Intel and Microsoft. People still got to use computers, stuff like that. But I also see opportunities in the new kids on the block, companies like Zoom, right? Something happened with the pandemic, and now something like Zoom and Facebook is connecting us, right? Facebook is a valuable company. Facebook is a publicly traded company. Facebook also owns Instagram. Instagram is now is just as relevant in our social media dynamic as Facebook. And Facebook owns both. I bought Facebook stock about a month ago for 176. It's like 220 right now. You could have just got in it in a month, made 50-point run on stuff that's obvious. People use Facebook every single day. We're on Facebook right now, and we're on Zoom right now. Those are two publicly traded companies. But are we making any money off of them? No, we're just making their brands and platforms more popular, and we're helping the actual shareholders of this company make more money. We're not. So by us using Facebook Live and using Zoom right now, all we're essentially doing is buying Jordans. We're not buying Nike stock. We don't own Facebook stock, and we don't own Zoom stock. So stop buying Jordans. If you shop at Walmart, cool. Own you some Walmart stock. If you shop at Target, great. Maybe you want to look at owning you some Target stock. What's on your watch list? Dollar Tree is publicly traded. When Dollar Tree owns Family Dollar. You know anybody shop at Family Dollar? I sure do. Maybe want to consider owning some Dollar Tree stock. They own Family Dollar, right? After they closed Northland and closed Target down, Family Dollar became the hood Target. I peeped it. You just got to follow the moves and the money, but we can see it. We just got to stay tunnel vision and keep immersing ourselves and looking at what's happening around us, right? I'm gonna leave y'all a couple of these jewels. I know the time is limited, but again, money you can make right now, all the stuff that's been doing with work from home and home entertainment. Because think about our children. Are they gonna go back to school yet? Are they streaming? So anything dealing with, we about to go in the summertime, and it's really not a lot of programs, activities, stuff for people to do. So stuff that's dealing with entertainment, they talking about Six Flags opening back up. Six Flags is publicly traded. Their ticker symbol is 6. They talking about Cedar Point opening back up. Their ticker symbol is FUN, F-U-N, right? These are opportunities that are out here.
Talking today about Disneyland opening back up.
Last one I was going to tell you too is all the firearm stocks are up now with all the protests and the racial conflict and unrest. Ruger, RGR is up. America Outdoor Brands for all the tactical gear and the weapons and stuff. AOBC is their ticker symbol. Axon Enterprise AXXN. They have the patents on the taser guns, and all the body cameras. I believe we're going to be in a world where everybody in law enforcement is going to have a body camera and a car mounted camera. They are. I believe in that technology. So these are opportunities that are out here.
So what we'll do is we'll come back next Wednesday, and next Wednesday we'll be Bang Part 2. So Part 2 we can take it into the Robinhood, the different apps. We can take it in, right? And if they want to get on Saturday, you always do Good Fathers Only, right? So we'll make sure that we forward it if they want to get on Saturday. But I wanted to make sure that this week was set up for new and young fathers, and so I wanted to really get the beginning of this process, right? Because I'm still kicking myself from getting out years ago, right? I'm still kicking myself about it, but now I know, getting back in, taking my time, getting to know, right, and moving. So I truly appreciate that. You got a high five from Clarence too. And
there it is. Appreciate you, brother Clarence.
And so that process. So we'll be on next Wednesday, 6 o'clock. We'll bang it. I know next Tuesday, I want you to check out the sister out of New York we got coming on, Nicole Campbell, about infrastructure. She's going an hour and a half. She's a very successful person in New York, and she's doing infrastructure, how your company should be set up top to bottom infrastructure-wise. So I'm looking forward to her. I'm going to be sending out a survey because she wants people to do a survey, make sure the business shower crew gets that and all. So I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. This has been Investment Matters with Ken Blanks Harrell, Part 1. Coming up next, we'll be live back with Carnell Smith with the paternity call. Thanks a lot, Ken. Shout out to Campaign for Black Male Achievement for your sponsorship. Thank you.
Have a great night, gents.
You too, bro.